All right, greetings from Houston, Texas. This is Mike on behalf of AT Astro with a phenomenal collaboration with the wonderful Stephanie. And we will be going over transits and predictions for the month of August. And for those who are wondering, these will be organized by sign, and it will be going by sun and rising sign. So if you have the sun or your rising sign is in one of the signs that we're describing, these predictions will absolutely apply to you. Also, I should note that I offer consultations. You will have information to contact me down at the bottom, as well as the wonderful Stephanie, who has her own YouTube channel, 1111 Tarot Babe. Say hello, Stephanie.
Hi, guys.
I will be posting information to contact Stephanie at the bottom of the page as well. I will also be including timestamps. So if you want to just kind of scroll through to your particular sign, you'll be able to do that. I'll also, in fact, I'll just get into it. August is going to be a pretty awesome month, a pretty positive month. The transits are actually quite good. There's been a lot of crazy stuff happening through July. We've got Mercury retrograde that started on the 7th. And it's going to be rounding off the entire month of July. We'll be dealing with the Mercury retrograde insanity. But at the beginning of July, it stations direct and starts to, go forward in its normal motion, which brings a lot of the craziness throughout July to a halt. There's also 2 eclipses in July, so a lot of crisis situations. We did a live feed, actually, and some predictions for July, and a lot of them were pretty intense depending on the sign. But this month is, I kind of like to refer to it as the clouds clear. The thunderstorms have passed, and now this is the month for all of that really beautiful, expressive Leo energy to sort of come out. There's a lot of planets that are working their way through Leo throughout the month. We're starting off with a new moon in Leo, conjunct Venus, coming up to conjunct Venus, as well as Mercury stationing direct and working its way out of Cancer and into the wonderful, bright, and expressive sign of Leo. We will be having a full moon. We will be having a full moon on the 15th of August, and that will be coming in conjunction with a Sun conjunct Venus in the wonderful sign of Leo, and then that'll be happening as Mercury makes its glorious entrance into the sign of Leo as well. So there's going to be a lot of Leo energy. Mars will be working in the mix as well, kind of filtering through that stellium through Leo, adding an extra, push for action with all of that wonderful, romantic, energetic, sun expression that's implied by that sign. But we'll start working through it sign by sign. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going, Stephanie.
So I run a couple pages on Facebook, and I also have a YouTube channel, 1111 Tarot Babe. I am a tarot and oracle reader. I read traditionally, but I also really incorporate a lot of intuitive information in with the readings. I channel information as well through various mediums. But basically today what I've done is I'm taking a look at the energy that is going to be surrounding you guys, and maybe hopefully getting some details about how, since you're going to be getting the astrology side of it, how you're going to be able to work with that energy in regards to tarot. So that's what we're hoping. I've not looked at these, so we are going to see what it says when we get to each sign. But other than that, you can find me on Facebook. 1111 Tarot Babe is my page, and I also have Witchy Inc., and I run a couple groups attached to that. So I go live with free readings often. We went live together doing July's predictions, just to kind of see how that went, and so that was fun. So definitely check it out. Mike is an admin on both of those groups, so
yes,
you
ma'am.
can find him there as well.
Yeah, I would like to just state, and I usually do this for all the people that I bring onto my channel, because I pride myself in seeking out people with raw talent. Stephanie is one of the best tarot card readers I've ever come across. I have had the pleasure of knowing her for a very long time. I've had the pleasure of working with her on Witchy Incorporated, which she did start and blow up on her own. And I've had the pleasure of just learning from her. I'm a novice at tarot. I prefer astrology. That's where I've got most of my strength. But using tarot to help expand your interpretation of what these transits will come to pass is just a phenomenal. It's just like peanut butter and jelly. It really is. And
yeah, it really does flow well together. So
Yeah, and if you're looking for somebody with raw talent and raw ability and a no bullshit approach to tarot, then you're looking for Stephanie.
Yes, I'm not going to. So please, Cancers in particular, like I try to say things positive in a positive way, but sometimes it's like a shit show, and I feel like you guys should know, and it shouldn't be filtered out, and so you can hear my voice whenever you're about to fly off the handle over something that you don't need to. So I only bring up Cancers because my last Cancer video didn't do so well, and I apparently hurt some feelings.
They always get upset over everything. Anyway, so that was to be expected. If you put an anti-cancer meme and you share it on a Facebook group, you can expect a lot of blow because that energy's so reactive. Right.
Yeah.
So let's get going. Let's move into Aries. Forceful, Mars-ruled, driven Aries. What's happening to them this month? There's actually a lot of really positive energy directed towards that sign this month. So let's keep moving.
All right, so am I going to go first?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way.
All right, so Aries, let's see what's going on. All right, so we have the Queen of Wands coming out, which is perfect because that is representing fire energy. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles, and then we have the Nine of Wands. So what I see here, I feel like there's some serious like financial, something that you've been working on a financial angle seems to be coming into some sort of fruition. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to hit exactly in August. I feel like this is the movement towards the direction of where you're wanting to go with the way these cards are coming out. So the Knight of Pentacles is going to be really like, it's really slow moving energy, but the cool thing about the Knight of Pentacles is like they're going to get to that King of Pentacles energy. It's just going to take them some time. So, and I feel like maybe in the past, for people that this is resonating with, you were working on towards something in your career or on a financial basis, and you were feeling very like, whatever it is, you got hit financially because we have this Nine of Wands. So you were feeling like you needed to get out of the situation, but you really weren't sure, and you were making movements forward, but it didn't feel like it. And I feel like August, something's going to come down that is going to help you see that you really are making these moves, because we have the Queen of Wands there. So I'm just going to pull one more card. Now, this also could be, I was going to say this could be a relationship for some people, but then I have the Ten of Pentacles coming out. So yeah, this is picking up a big hit for financial stuff. There's something coming through to you on a financial scale that could be actual like money. This is going to be something you worked for. So it's not just like landing in your lap. You definitely worked for it. This also could just be recognition in a way. So, a promotion at work. Recognition in the public eye. But I do feel like this is a big, huge financial month for Aries, Sun and Rising.
Yeah, the transits are actually really supportive of Aries right now. Well, we do have Chiron still working its way through Aries. And for some people, having their sun getting hit by Chiron, it can be a little difficult. Like, am I capable of doing what I pride myself in being able to set out and do? And that's been going on since like April. So that's been a pretty heavy energy for Aries. And then for the month of July, Mercury going retrograde in Cancer is really going to give a lot of, it puts you in a position where you're second guessing yourself a lot. But when we burst into August with all of these wonderful planets in Leo trining, these Aries placements, it really does, like, all the stuff that you've been building for, all the stuff that you've been, trying to do despite everything that may have been pushing you down, both, situationally and psychologically, you're getting this drive of energy. This drive of optimism, like Venus making trines to planets in Aries, Mars making trines, Sun making trines. It's just like a whole bunch of positive energy that's being pushed towards Aries. So it's really good. So anything that you may have been dealing with financially, anything you may have been dealing with emotionally and psychologically, you're all of a sudden going to receive a burst of confidence. Now, whether that comes from within or comes materially, as these cards would imply, is up for debate depending on the individual, but I'd say this is a positive looking time for this particular sign. I'm good.
Yeah, so I was just pulling out as you were talking, and that's literally the picture that you're seeing here play out. Sorry, let me put these cards a little closer up. So the way I read tarot is I like to look at what's next to each other. You literally have that energy. You have this like Knight of Pentacles pushing you in, you know, all that work that you did, all that like self-doubt that you were able to work over, pushing you into the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is a card of confidence. And when I clarified it, I'm getting the Ten of Pentacles. So if you know tarot, you know that means money. You know, that means financial security above all. So it's not just like getting money, it's being able to get enough money where you're feeling secure, or being able to step into an energy where you know, because of that, because you embody the Queen of Wands, and that confidence within yourself, that you know you can make it, even if it's not necessarily manifesting physically yet. So something snaps in your head that where you realize like you're really doing this, like you're doing a good job, you're doing what you need to do, and you really weren't feeling that. I feel, and as astrologically accurate, that wasn't energy for you for quite some time.
And if you're involved with an Aries, kudos, because you might be able to benefit indirectly from their financial upcoming.
All right.
Taurus.
Yes, Taurus. So I'm a Taurus sun and I have a Taurus Mercury. So I'm interested in this. Let's see.
Gloom and doom.
Ooh, damn. All right. So
well, there's a lot of planets that are going to be squaring Taurus. Plus, there's a lot of stuff happening with Taurus this month.
So I'm having, I don't know how well you guys can see the cards from the distance, but I have the King of Pentacles coming out, which that's good. We like to see that. That's going to indicate some financial stuff, but there's also the Three of Swords coming out. So we're going to look at this a little bit further. It looks like to me, let me pull a card, but as I'm talking, it looks like to me there's some sort of definitely a heartbreak that comes through. The Three of Swords is not a good energy. There's no way to spin that. Your heart, but the only way, okay, I can spin it by saying that in personal experience and experience with clients, it's not a heartache that lasts a very long time. It's something that you know, everybody gets hurt. It's
a sharp pain and it quickly dissipates.
Yeah.
Sort of like a shot.
But there's something like better coming. So, this could be a relationship, but this could also be just internal issues. This could have something to do with your finances, because we do have the King of Pentacles, but it also could be something to do with your self-worth, and it also could actually be a person. So there's like a lot of messages here. I feel like there's some people that definitely, there's some sort of decision that they're having to make. They're having to leave a situation behind for something better. But it's a lot of pain in order to do that. So this could be dealing with somebody that embodies the the King of Pentacles. That's going to be a very a stable energy in your life. A father figure, somebody that is a partner, that has a lot of like earth energy, or just is a financial provider. But there's some sort of decision that needs to be made, and overall it's positive in the end, but it's going to be not too pleasant to deal with. In regards to finances, I could definitely see this as an indicator. If you are, you're already going to be like triggering right now to what I'm saying, and know that that's about you in regards to your job. I do feel like this could be a warning that you might get like burned somehow. You might have an issue with your boss or somebody that embodies the King of Pentacles. And you might be making some decisions on what to do in regards to your future for employment. Because it might be a situation where it's maybe toxic and you don't want to be involved in it anymore. But the overall, while it might not be the best energy, the overall outcome, and I feel like the outcome even just for that month, I don't feel like this is something that's an extended issue. The overall outcome is very positive. It's leaving something negative for something that's much better. So it's just keep that in mind whatever, I feel like because of how this energy is and how I'm feeling right now, there's it's all sporadic, it's all over the place. However it's going to play out for you individually, you just need to remember, keep this image in your head that you're going through all of this and you're going to get up to this. And it's going to happen quick. I don't know.
Do you think that this potentially could be related to the Taurian relationship with money? Because you're talking about heartbreak, and I mean, I know that.
Well, yeah, that's why I was saying like self-worth, your connection to your worth with money, connection with having to be this King of Pentacles and maybe not being able to reach that quite yet, but it's yeah, it's definitely something that's not, it's just not, hold on, I want to pull one more card, sorry.
Yeah, because this one is about you.
Yeah, if you notice, my Taurus and Gemini and Pisces videos are a little bit longer than the other ones. Whatever is happening, hold on.
Is that the
It
Wheel of
doesn't
Fortune?
even matter because you can't really do anything about it.
Is that the Wheel of Fortune?
It's the Wheel of Fortune. And so
Reverse?
I'm going to put down another card to see what this wheel is turning over. And I feel like this is going to be more about, this is thoughts. Look at all these swords. We got the 3 of Swords, the 4 Swords. We have the 2 of Swords. This is some sort of change in your perception. And now, yeah, maybe it does play out in a physical sense. Maybe something in your life changes. Maybe you lose some money. Maybe you get into a fight at work and get like, I don't know, whatever it is. But it's not, your perception is going to change because of the experience, and you're going to be in a better place. It's nothing that I feel is long term. And then maybe going forward, like you won't have this link to the finances as much, where it's like that's like your self-worth, or that's how you like gauge your mental health is like depends upon how much money you have. Like I understand all of that. So yeah, overall you're going to be okay. You just kind of have to, this is like the energy I would say you just have to write out.
Well, if you look at it from the transit perspective, just from the start, we've got trines going from Saturn and Pluto. As they work their way back retrograde, a lot of planets in Taurus are getting hit by that via trine. And that's a lot of energy and effort being put into something. But simultaneously, while that's going on, we've got squares going to Taurus like crazy, and they're all coming from Leo. And squares represent situational circumstances in the natal chart, and they represent tension as a result of circumstances. And because we've got Venus, which can be self-esteem, we've got Mars, which can be, aggression, competitiveness, your desire to do better and get what you want, and then the Sun, which is the ego, all making hard aspects to Taurus, as well as Mercury, to everything. Literally, is just hitting Taurus like a ton of bricks. And because it's all situational, it's like, am I doing everything I can? The bills are getting tight. The electricity might get turned off, or I need to get some of these things done before my next deadline, or I could receive a pay cut or a demotion, or it's really stressful. It is very, very stressful, and it's learning to value yourself to the point to where you don't necessarily need money as an affirmation of who you are and where you're going to be in life and your status within society. So yes, it is it's a difficult month for Taurus. It is.
That's just funny to hear as a Taurus. I mean, it's like, yes, I understand that on a very broad spectrum, but like in reality, it's a hard energy to fight. So if you're like really like you're telling me that my self-worth isn't tied to money and you're a Taurus, then like I'm feeling you right now, but it really isn't. And money comes in a cycle from like a spiritual perspective, so cycles change. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune too. It reminds you that things cycle, things change, things get better, things get worse.
The thing about detrimental circumstances and the effect that they can have, it falls a lot in line with what you were saying. It puts you in a position to where you have to make some changes. You have to make some, you have to rearrange some things in your life so that you can get something better. And sometimes, and the thing is, Taurus is a fixed energy, and they're like the fixedest of the fixed energy because it's an earth sign. They don't like to let go. They don't like change. Adjustments to them can be a little bit more uncomfortable than for other signs, Scorpio too. But this is an energy that has to come to pass because you have to learn to change to your circumstances so that you can have a better future. And that's where I think the 3 of Swords is coming from. It's just, it's growing pains.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And that's why I think there's all those swords showing up in the reading, that it's, when you see a ton of swords, you have to like really think like, is this reality, or is this something that you have like, maybe there is an external circumstance, but you're making it way, way worse. when there's all those thoughts, because those are thoughts, and not every thought is real.
You're letting the stress get to you and fuck you up in a way that you don't need to be fucked up about.
Yeah. And whatever is happening, whatever external circumstance comes down is fated. There's nothing that you did to cause it. It was going to happen one way or another because the energy needed to come through for a reason you'll find out in the future.
Yes. All right. So wonderful, talkative, communicative, two-faced, backstabbing Gemini.
Well, I am a Gemini moon, and we are both Gemini rising, so you should be more supportive of Gemini energy. Anyway,
I'm jokingly making fun of Gemini because there's a lot of Gemini energy in my life, and I love it.
Oh, wow. This is really nice. Really nice.
God.
Let's hope that I get more of that Gemini stuff than You're going to have to look at my stuff now. All right. This is really fucking nice. Okay, guys. We have the 9 of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups, the King of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the 6 of Cups. So we have a fuck ton of cups. We have some passion with the King of Wands. We have self-sufficiency and treating yourself and financial abundance that you have created yourself. And it doesn't necessarily always mean you're rich right now, but it's something that you might be creating right now. In a way, like it's coming out in the future, but I do feel like there's some sort of like reward coming down here. And this actually, okay, so as I said, reward, I'm hearing like, look at the rest of the cards. Like could be a reward in regards to some sort of emotional fulfillment with the 10 of Cups, because that's what 10 of Cups represents. It's like this happy life, a happy family. The 10 of Pentacles also can represent that, but it actually has a more like a darker meaning to it, because it's like working your ass off to create that and then looking back and be like, I don't know if that was actually worth it, versus the 10 of Cups is having all of that success in the financial stuff, because you can see like they have like a land and they have kids and they have like a happy family or whatever. So you're getting that 10 of Pentacles energy, but it's also emotionally fulfilled as well. And then we have the King of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Then that's anytime I see court cards, I think representing people. So you might be entering in some sort of like relationship, or you could start to embody more of the King of Wands energy and the Queen of Cups. So being, very intuitive, with all these cups here, you might, if you're an intuitive person already, you might be growing in your gifts. The 6 of Cups represents your childhood, and I feel like there's some sort of, with it touching the 10 of Cups, there's some sort of healing action with issues from your childhood is what I get there. Now the 6 of Cups also, I'm sure if you know tarot, can represent somebody coming back into your life from your past. So if that is the case, if that's how this energy plays out, it is something that's super beneficial and positive. However, I feel like I'm really leaning more towards it's this and this. It's some sort of emotional fulfillment helps heal childhood issues. And then that 9 of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, you guys actually, it could be you putting yourself in kind of like this treat yourself energy, like you're going to be feeling very good. And like, you're going to be feeling yourself. So like this can be like a sign, like make sure you don't overspend or overindulge, that kind of thing too. But all I see is positivity here. There's like nothing negative I could say about this whatsoever.
Wow, that's great. That's it?
That's it.
I mean, yeah, beside that horrible square from Neptune, there's really not a whole lot of bad stuff transit-wise happening to Gemini right now. I mean, if you're a Gemini rising, Jupiter is still transiting through your 7th house, which is wonderful for relationships. It's going to be there for a little while. It's going to be there till at least the end of the year. And then all of those planets in Leo are going to be forming beautiful sextiles to Gemini. We've got Jupiter making an opposition to anything in Gemini, so that's going to ramp up the optimism. We've got Chiron and Aries making sextiles to Gemini. Well, planets in positions early in Gemini, and that is a healing energy. It's not like terribly overt, but it's still there. A lot of sextiles, and so that's just a lot of free-flowing energy. Nothing too dramatically wonderful, but it's just that type of reprieve from heavy transits that produce really, really good results. You're basically getting let off a little bit. Like you're not getting attacked as much by, the universe, so that you can actually enjoy yourself and you can get a little bit of a breather from all the difficult work you may have been putting in this year and all the emotional turmoil you may have been getting if you've been getting hit with inconjuncts from Saturn and Pluto or that nasty square from Neptune. So I would say that, yeah, that's actually quite positive. It's just a pretty tranquil month for Gemini from an astrological perspective. Of course, each chart's going to be different. So if you really want to find out exactly how this is manifesting person for person, then get a personal tarot card reading from Stephanie or schedule a consultation with me. But overall, the overall look for Gemini from an astrological perspective is not that rough. Now, you do need to be careful this month about overindulgence and over-optimism. Things might be going well now, but if you get too complacent with how things are at the moment, you could be setting yourself up for some major bullshit down the line, especially in the month of September. So that is something that does need to be kept in mind. Jupiter, in opposition to all those planets, has a way of creating such a wide, far-reaching level of optimism that you just don't plan too far ahead to the future because you're just so comfortable in the now. So I'll just shut up about that.
Yeah, and that's another kind of marker for the Six of Cups, because the Six of Cups represents like the past, your childhood, and so when you combine the Nine of Pentacles and the Six of Cups, it can give you that over, like, all right, let's say for instance you have somebody coming back into your life that you already have had a back and forth with. You could potentially be idealizing the situation and not seeing it from a clear perspective with the combinations of the cards. I do feel like, though, this is like you said, like, it's not like a big, like, this isn't like some huge move in your life or a huge adjustment or a huge shift. It is more of just like this, there's an emotional fulfillment. So however that's going to play out, it could play out if you're single, it could play out in any relationship. If you're not, it could play out in your relationship, like, healing on some level. There's just like so much about childhood, though. I just keep hearing that over and over. So there's definitely whatever, you might have some things come up for you that was from your past that you just now deal with a lot differently than you have before. And that actually is it is a big shift for, I mean, in my opinion, if you're changing your perspective on stuff. So, but yeah, there's no majors here. So there's no like, you're finding the love of your life tomorrow or whatever bullshit. So. Yeah.
All right, Cancer. What about Cancer? What's going on with Cancer this month? Poor Cancer. Last month was an absolute wreck for them.
Yeah, Cancer had a rough time. So let's take a look.
Really rough July.
Yay, happy cards. Okay, so Cancers, I have the Page of Pentacles, the Four of Wands, and the Two of Wands. So what I see right away, the Four of Wands always is going to represent your home, and it's going to represent your home in a happy state, in a state of contentment. It represents your foundation, so it can represent your past in a way as well. But here it's really, to me, it's about your home, and I feel like you're getting into a very comfortable spot in your home. And maybe there was some disruption, because there was a lot of disruption on an emotional level based on last time's reading. It was a lot of like a lot of big feelings about certain things that weren't based in reality, really. So, I mean, maybe some of them were, but it seems like the perspective has changed significantly. And there's some sort of like foundation that is setting in August. We have the Page of Pentacles. That is definitely a good marker for anything financial. Anytime we see those court cards come in regarding Pentacles, I'm going to think, you might have money coming in. The page is also not just being like a court card that represents a person. They represent a potential message. So anytime you see this come out, I want to warn the viewer that make sure you're paying attention to your mail for during August, because you might get some like surprise money in a positive way. And you also might get some surprise bills that could potentially mess you up if you don't pay attention to them. So the flip side there is that. But other than that, it's a really potential positive energy for people that are going into school this fall. This is a marker that it's going to be going well. The page is a student, and it's is in its upright energy, even though I'm not reading reversals, but I'm getting a positive energy off of it. I do feel like it's a good like you're gonna have a good foundation, and you're gonna be able to like expand what you're wanting. So like is you're not going to feel like having to stay at home to feel safe and secure. I don't feel like in August. It's going to be like there's more of an expansive energy where you're wanting to broaden your horizons because you have the safety and the security of your home. And again, people going to school, especially if you're going to college or whatever this fall, this is a very positive outlook for you if you're coming into that in August. So I think that's about it tarot-wise. There's definitely, well, you know what? Actually, hold on. Let me just pull one card to see where is this expansive look. This is like you being able to see, like wanting to do something else that's new and different, but you're very comfortable with it because you can be. So the moon is coming out to clarify. That could just mean that it's just a shift in your consciousness. So I feel like this is what I'm getting intuitively. I feel like some people are just gonna realize sometimes how maybe they make things more difficult than they need to be, and being able to like, it's like leveling up in a way. Like, and it's just a small way. It's not anything huge, but there's definitely you're getting a chance to release something that was not so positive and being able to step into something that's a little bit better on how you perceive things. But you're gonna be comfortable and happy, and some of you are going to be getting some good news about money or jobs or school or that kind of stuff.
Wonderful. Well, from an astrological perspective, if you have your rising in Cancer, then all of these Leo placements are going to be occurring in your second house, which highlights your values, your self-esteem. It highlights money, so that message from the Page of Pentacles could potentially be something that you need to pay attention to. Mars running through your second house definitely has a hustler kind of vibe. So the potential to need to hustle to get something straightened out, or the opportunity to hustle to get something, some sort of financial gain. But Cancer is coming off of a lot of stress from the last month. The North Node is still transiting its way through Cancer, which energizes whatever planet it touches, and it'll be doing that for the duration of the year for the most part. And that in itself is quite nice, but the transits from Saturn and Pluto opposing Cancer are very difficult, very, very difficult to navigate. But last month, you were under a lot of pressure. There were 2 eclipses in Cancer, plus just the sheer amount of energy coming from Capricorn across the wheel into that particular sign. That's a very powerful, hard to deal with energy. So it can create crisis. It can create a lot of emotional ups and downs. It can create making mountains out of molehills, just overreacting. And so this month, with Neptune making its wonderful trine to Pisces, all of the planets that were causing a lot of turmoil and the retrograde coming out of Cancer, this is just a nice level of reprieve. And it's actually going to get better as things progress into September, as all the planets in Virgo start to make sextiles to the Cancer sign. So I would say that this is a fairly decent time for Cancer. This is a time to be optimistic about, the far-reaching goals that you have planned, possibly the school season, possibly your children going to school, with all the Leo being highlighted. And it's just, thank God July is over real, because July was just a lot for the emotionally reactive and sensitive and nurturing energy of Cancer to handle.
Yes. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah, Cancer is, it's going to get easier. And that's a lot of what astrology shows you, is that because most people that reach out to astrologers, they're dealing with really difficult periods in their life. And astrology shows you the cycles of life. It shows you that this too shall pass and better things will come. Everything works in cycles. And so this is an example of that exact concept, that August is going to be far better than July. Just simply, y'all got through the worst of the storm, and now it's going to be a lot easier for y'all to manage. So now we are moving on to Leo. You have a Leo rising or a Leo sun.
All right, so Leo, we have some big stuff. Tarot-wise. So I'm having 2 majors come out. 2 major arcana cards are going to, when you have more major arcana cards than not in a spread, it's going to indicate something in your life and an energy that's hitting you that's out of your control. And so the way this energy will manifest varies widely because it's going to depend on you and your, where you are on your soul's path and all that stuff. But it lets you know, it's just that kind of nice reminder that when you're having these moments and when you're having these big, which might be potentially emotional swings, I don't necessarily see that in the cards, but I just kind of feel it. But it's something that's hitting your subconscious. So anytime your subconscious gets stirred up, I mean, most of our, like, what we do is driven through the subconscious. So there's a lot of shit that can get stirred up and make you feel all kinds of different ways. That you're not in control. You're not at fault. You just kind of have to accept what's happening and try to react differently than you have in the past, because there's some sort of cycle that's ending. The Wheel of Fortune is, it's a fate card, but it's hitting, to me, which this really should be here. Actually, no, let's not do that because I did put it down there. Let's do this instead. Sorry. But to me, in this spread, not only being that this energy is fated, that you don't really have control, like that message there, it also is going to roll over on whatever energy it's going to hit right here. So let's see what that's about, because the fate's all about, like you were just saying, like I was just saying, like things go in cycles. So when let me just do this. Sorry. So yeah, there's some type of, there's something going on with your thoughts and how you process information and how you perceive things and how you are incorporating your higher self or your subconscious and your intuition, all that into one. There's a massive shift that happens. So this could make some people act like fucking assholes. You're gonna need to be mindful of that energy of being very like forward in a negative way, but also it's gonna make some people super like into like they're gonna be very like excited, wanting to be like creative, embodying Leo energy is what I see here. But also there's like some sexual energy there too, a push of that. But I feel like it's these shifts that are happening, like I said, it's like so many different ways it can play out. It depends on who you are and how you're going to receive that energy. You might be the type of person that like gets this weird feeling and this weird shift of all this stuff coming to you, and you decide to lash out and be kind of a negative Knight of Swords and be kind of sharp with your words and how you treat people, if that's what kind of excites you. So that's what it is. It's like whatever excites you this month is going to be really coming out. Or you might be more of the like fuckboy energy with the Knight of Wands. So it depends on how this energy is going to come out, and it could be coming out in the positive aspects of this, like very really standing up for what you believe in, really, going after something that you're wanting to on an intellectual level, or being very passionate about a situation and really diving, like throwing yourself deep into it. So it's not always negative stuff, but that's kind of, people use the energy in certain ways that tend to be in a pattern. So I just can't get a pinpoint on like a detail of what's going on here. Is this relationships? Is this, what? But it's movement. You're going to feel different for sure.
Well, the thing about this particular month is there is a stellium running through the sign of Leo. But what's more important is Mars specifically will be transiting Leo, and it'll be throughout the entire sign of Leo in this month. So if you have your sun in Leo, or if your first house is Leo, there is a certain energy that comes about whenever Mars transits the sun specifically. That is a hyper-aggressive, hyper-sexual, hyper-masculine energy. It's a very, very exerted force. And it can be used positively or it can be used negatively. It can be used in a way that dominates the people around you, or it can be used in a way that is just a great burst of energy. Also, the sun will be transiting through your sign as well, so the ego will be high. Too many masculine energies transiting Leo at the same time can be a little bit overwhelming. It can be a little bit much for people. It can be a period of time where you're really feeling yourself, but at the same time, you may be coming off as obnoxious. You may get some blowback from you just being your authentic self. And that's a lot of what this particular month is about. It's a positive time emotionally, but you have to be very careful about how your actions impact people around you. And then Uranus is squaring the early degrees of Leo, so that can create some, sudden impulse outbursts, some sudden impulse fights, just deciding to take off work for 2 weeks out of nowhere and go on a vacation just because you wanted to. It's just there's an impulsive quality to these particular transits that have to be taken into account. And that is further highlighted by Jupiter transiting Sagittarius, making a trine to most of the middle degrees of Leo. So a lot of this is about just, it's okay to be you as long as your authentic you doesn't trample all over other people. Big thing.
Yeah, and that shows out clearly in the cards. I mean, even just talking about the masculine, we have two male figures there overpowering the higher self. And these two, the knights are an immature energy compared to the king and the queen. So the knights are just they just can be ruthless and not think. They only think for themselves and what they're wanting. They're all about going and getting what they want. And it doesn't really matter, especially for this Knight of Swords, who gets hurt in that process. So that's showing up very, very clearly in the cards. You got to watch it. That's why I'm saying, like, how everybody's going to play out, it depends on who you are and how you decide to use that kind of energy. You could take this energy and you can, what I'm hearing is throw it into some type of work to really create something that you really want. Like,
yeah, absolutely. That's the
like you could make some serious moves in your work field if you choose to do that instead of fucking around with stuff that you shouldn't be messing with.
Fucking around with the fuck around.
Yeah.
As they like to say in Texas. Which I already miss. All right.
Yeah, so, you said Mike from Houston, and I almost wanted to interrupt you and be like, hey, you're not there.
That's right. For those of you who don't know, I recently relocated to Los Angeles, California. So I'm like a fish out of water out here, but I kind of like it. The weather's awesome. The food's awesome. The people are okay. No, actually, everybody's
not really as good as Northern California, but.
Well, that's like the big debate here. Because apparently in Northern California, y'all can't surf. So that's a whole big thing. And
yeah, nobody cares here. So anyway, before we get some mean comments about that whole debacle on your comment section, do you want to go to Virgo?
Yeah, absolutely. And just on a side note, I've met some of the most wonderful people ever in California. So don't take that personally. I just feel like a fish out of water and I get stared at a lot. But the fact that I'm walking around in like blue jeans and cowboy boots.
Yeah, that's what, Jesus Christ. All right, you need my help. Okay. Let's go on to Virgo. I guess I'll start since I brought it up. Unless you have something to say before I start.
About Virgo?
Yeah.
Stop being so neurotic.
No, okay. So what's going on for you guys in August? This month, we have the Death card. Sorry, I'm like looking at this now and trying to figure out what's going on. All right, so we have some things going on. This is interesting. I'm gonna actually have to pull some more cards in order to clarify this, but right away I'm seeing the Death card. So if you don't know tarot and you see that and you freak out, you think, oh, does that mean I'm dying? No, you're not dying. The Death card is actually probably second favorite card, to be honest. And it's weird because I have a love-hate relationship with it, but it represents transformation. It represents massive changes. And in my experience, they generally are for the better as long as you do not resist them. When you resist them, those Death cards turn into Tower cards where your shit just gets destroyed because you're refusing to change with the energy that's forcing you to. Now, however, it's sitting next to the Two of Cups. Now, the Two of Cups is a relationship card. It represents people in a relationship. And so with the Death card sitting next to it, this could be the end of some relationships. But we have the Sun right next to that. So that's where it kind of gets oh, weird, what's actually going on here. So I'm going to just draw a card to clarify a little bit more. Stepping outside of the relationship aspect of the Two of Cups, the Two of Cups also represents emotional stability within and being able to maintain that balance of your emotional stability. Oh, you're not really helpful. So we have the Star coming out. I feel there are people.
I never see that card come out, just for some weird. I never see that card come out.
That's where I see it quite often. So I feel like, okay, this is going to be super specific for only people that's going to resonate with. There are some people that are ending relationships because they are already in the works of another one. And you're going to be happy, at least for a time period. I can't tell you forever, or if it's like the love of your life, or if you're not making a huge fucking mistakes right now. But regardless, even if you are, you're supposed to, because we have 3 majors coming out. And so if you just jump to this part of the video, whenever I'm going to see majors come out in this extent, it's going to let me know that it's an energy that is outside of your control. So there are some people that are going into, I feel, new relationships, but also this is going to be, for a lot of people, this internal balance and an emotional, with your emotions and finding balance within. There might be some sort of ending in a cycle that you've had emotionally. Maybe you are ending a codependency issue. Maybe you're ending, and we don't end these issues. I hate when I see readers, oh, you're ending this cycle of blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, I still have issues with certain aspects that I've been working on for years. Like it's not necessarily, you're never going to deal with those feelings or emotions or how those triggers, but you can deal with them in a different way. And so that's what I see here, is that you definitely could be finding a new way to find balance within. And since I feel like it's about codependency. So that's the word that keeps coming into my head right now. There's going to be a lot of shifts for people and how they view their relationships and if they're codependent or not. If you're in a relationship, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to end. This can be an ending of a type of level of that relationship. Now, the thing with the 2 of Cups, it's relationships. How many times can I say that word? But it also is, it's the it's like the infancy stage of relationship. It's like first getting together, or when you're like newer in a relationship. Some people call it the soulmate card, which it can represent that. But in this reading, it's really like, to me, like your relationship, if it's not ending, if you guys are doing well, you guys are going to a new level in it. So you could literally be getting an engagement or something like that, moving in together, or it could just be there's some sort of emotional connection that occurs where you guys are seeing each other in a different light, and you're being able to step into this new territory. And that's going to be really positive. If you're listening to this and you've been having some issues in your relationship, I'm saying that you guys are coming around for, like, there's something better coming. So either if it ends, it's going to end and it's not going to be a big shock and a big surprise or anything like that. It will be just like, this needs to end. But if it's not ending and you guys are reconciling and going into a very good place together, yeah, that's what I see there.
Good deal. So it's interesting you bring up the codependency thing, because for people that have their rising in Virgo or have Virgo planets, especially the sun, Neptune's been in hard aspect to that for a really, really long time. And it's an opposition, so that signifies an individual, an outside person other than the chart holder, that is causing the tension, as that, is indicative of that opposition. And Neptune is a very codependent energy, and Virgo in its own right is susceptible to codependence, because Virgo is the fixer, Virgo is the helper, Virgo is the person that goes, oh, well, I can fix this person. And with Neptune transiting your 7th house or opposing your sun, there can be this real feeling of, I can, this person's this way because of certain things that happen to them or their behavior. That's not really them. I see the real them. I can help them be the better manifestation of themselves. And that's just not a healthy way to go about your relationships. So the fact that you say codependency is really interesting to me, because that is something that Virgos have been having to deal with for quite some time. And then with Jupiter being hard aspect coming from Sagittarius, forming squares to both Neptune and any planets in Virgo, there is an optimism, but it's not the same type of, it's not the good kind of optimism. It's more like the sort of not seeing the situation clearly. It's
putting it on a pedestal.
Putting it on a pedestal, or sort of like seeing the situation as having a brighter future than it potentially does. So this particular month, you get a chance to really see through a lot of that. Actually, September is a really bright month for Virgo. There's not a whole lot going on. There's trines coming from Saturn and Pluto, but that kind of like, allows you to dig in your feet a little bit more. But Neptune will be leaving Pisces soon. in about a year, I believe. Yeah, a year and a half at least. And the chance and the opportunity to see through the fog will be there very quickly. And so you get to begin working through those processes now. Now you're getting the inkling that are there certain habits that I have adopted over the past few years that have hindered my development in terms of my relationships. And that's where the death card is. The death card is you sort of getting like the first glimpse into what you've been doing wrong and what your involvement has been and the issues you've been having with your relationships. So talking to somebody new, huh?
Go ahead.
Or potentially you could be entering a new relationship that is fated and possibly karmic, but is also coming forward as a way for you to see more relationship issues that you may have that you need to work through.
So as we're talking about that, you see this death card, we have that the imagery of the horse and the knight on there, but then in the background you have that, what is it? There's two pillars and the sun. You see how far away he is from everything. So that shows you that energy of how this is just coming in, this change is coming in, and then there's that outlook in the future, which is pretty far, but it's relative to where they are, but it's something that's obviously better than where they're at currently with all these dead bodies surrounding them.
What deck is that?
This is the Golden Rider-Waite universe. I don't know. I will let you know. It's my favorite deck.
Wonderful. Okay, so now we get to move on to Libra.
Yes.
I love Libra. Libra gets so much shit talked on them, but I actually have a history of being really cool with most Libras.
Oh.
when they're not bailing on me at critical periods of time.
I think all Libra placements are problematic, but no.
That's what they say about Gemini placements.
But that's just people that are boring. Okay, so we've already established that. That's just people that are boring that say that. Mm-hmm. I don't have any issue with any placement ever, except for Libra Mars. No, I don't have any issue with any placement. It matters to hold chart. And I am not an astrologer. I am learning from books and from Mike and from everything along with you guys. Anyway, let's get started on this before I get distracted. So this is already tough here. So what I'm seeing here is there's some sort of there's a very conflicting and emotionally down energy that's going to be hitting you guys. I don't know if this could potentially have to do with an actual, a person, somebody else that's embodying the Queen of Swords. So I'm hearing work. It could be work related. And you also could be embodying the Queen of Swords, which would be kind of stepping into her lower energy and making your situation worse. So when you have all of these swords sitting here, you're first going to think well, there's definitely it's just not a nice energy with a lot of swords. There's always conflict. There's always misunderstandings. There's always somebody being nasty when they don't need to be. And there's always you making the situation way worse than it actually needs to be. Especially the Eight of Swords. She's surrounded herself with those swords. She's tied herself up. She can get through. She can get out if she were to try, but she isn't because she has a sword sitting right in front of her. So if she were to actually move her freaking body around, she would feel that there's something there that she could try to at least reach out and grab. But she's more content being, where she is and just being a victim. And that's what can happen when you let your thoughts, if you think about these swords as actual thoughts, just clouding yourself, and how you can get very comfortable in a victim mentality and a victim state. It makes things sometimes easier, especially if there's conflict and if there's emotional loss. I feel what I'm hearing is that this emotional loss hits you in your ego and makes you feel some kind of way about yourself. And so there's just kind of a lash out from that. So you might end up, not being very Libra-like and stepping into kind of a bitchy energy that's not very fair and balanced and is more carrying a brute and going after what they're needing to do and wanting to do. They're not emotionally attached. The Queen of Swords, I personally love her, but within this energy that she's surrounded by, she's not. If she's in the energy, she doesn't give a fuck. about anybody except for what she's wanting to do, and she will hurt people along the way in that process. So I feel like what I'm hearing is that it's lashing out. It's lashing out at other people that don't deserve it because you're so wound up in these thoughts. So, and again, like I was talking about earlier, I did hear work, and I heard that it could be having to do with a character matching a lower energy of the Queen of Swords, and that they would be putting you into this very negative energy. So saying all that, let me just pull one card to see some like advice or something else other than just being negative. So it seems like it could. So the Four of Pentacles, it definitely could be about work, but the first thought I had seeing that card is this is going to be a lesson about control, learning to learning your limit. I don't want to call you guys controlling at all, but learning your limitations with controlling certain aspects of your life, whatever they be that you find you have control issues with. And I also do feel like this could be some a warning regarding some finances for some people. That's going to be a very small segment, not many. But also, again, that mention about work, having to deal with somebody at work that is upsetting you. So that's what I have.
Well, the thing about Libra is when they get upset, the last thing they want to do is lash out because, unfortunately, lashing out would make them appear unattractive and uncouth and barbaric, and that's exactly the thing that Libra does not like to be seen as. So them lashing out is more than likely going to be in the passive-aggressive tense. They're dealing with a lot of circumstantial issues that are left over from the previous month, from the retrograde in Cancer squaring Libra, the eclipses squaring Libra, the Saturn and Pluto conjunction squaring Libra. It's not a very pretty energy. So Libra, I believe last month's reading was actually quite good, which means they were going to fare the storm fairly well of all the really heavy transits to that sign. But this month, they're going to be still reeling from unexpressed turmoil that they didn't get to really deal with last month. So there are not that many terrible placements affecting Libra in terms of the faster moving planets. So like all the planets in Leo will be sextiling the planets in Libra. That's not too bad. They do have the long-standing transits from Pluto and Saturn that are consistently afflicting that sign and have been for quite some time, especially Saturn, because Libra energy and Saturn energy get along well. Saturn's exalted in Libra, but unfortunately, because Libra is well attuned with that energy, it's very receptive to it as well. So that very Saturnian kind of fake it till you make it type energy is going to definitely take its toll. So I would definitely suggest if you have a Libra rising, and also if you have a Libra rising, more than likely some of the biggest issues you're going to face are going to come from the home field or work if you use work as a source of your emotional needs and fulfillment. So learning to attack issues in a diplomatic way, like Libra is so fond of doing, is going to be really, really helpful if you play that strength to your advantage this month, because you will be tested. It's very, very easy to see. And Libras have been tested for quite some time. Issues related to money that you've been dealing with for some time, all of a sudden the burden feels like it's too great this month and you have to do something about it. My phone is blowing up. So it's just you really have to like embrace your strengths and play to your strengths this month in terms of using your diplomatic nature to sort of get the issues that you want resolved. You have to be straightforward, which Libra does not like doing, but this is a month where you kind of really need to do that. Also, we've got Chiron in opposition to Libra because it's working its way through Aries, and it will be there for some time. And especially if you have your Sun in Libra, oppositions represent other people. Chiron is wounding to your ego as a result of other people, or it can be moving through your 7th house, which in itself is problematic because that 7th house represents the other. So it is definitely a period of time where you're already going to be feeling the pressures from life, and there could be a person who comes into your life who hurts you, whether or not they realize it or not, and it's going to make you really doubt who you are. And the important thing to do is try to look at the situation rationally and not do exactly what the cards are implying that you would like to do and lash out. So yeah.
You also want to, I feel, be mindful that if you feel the urges, you need to, there's a lot of orange and there's a lot of blue in these cards. If you feel the urges to lash out, it's because you're getting hit in your confidence area. That's orange is going to be this representation of confidence within oneself, and blue is representing communication. And so you need to not project, basically, and you need to communicate from a heart space, because we also have this green here. You need to communicate from a heart space versus a ego base. They're hitting me in my like feels area.
Absolutely.
So that's all I see extra here with those colors.
And as a logical Capricorn, usually my advice to any situation is to approach it rationally. And Libra isn't the most emotionally reactive. They can be rather reactive, but not in a way that's usually emotionally driven. I'm usually going to be the first person to be like, you need to look at everything clearly, and Libra's pretty good at doing that. So I think you'll be able to navigate the trials of this month quite well. But best of luck.
Yeah, it's not a big deal in the cards either. It's something when you see those cards, you know that's something that you probably won't even really care about in about a month or two.
Mm-hmm. All right, we are moving on to Scorpio.
So last month, Scorpio had a very good reading.
They did.
Because
they ended up winning in the end, which is what they always want.
7 of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and then the 4 of Cups. So you guys are going to be your own worst enemy this month, right off the bat with that 4 of Cups, and then sitting next to the Page of Cups. So last month, on my video that I did specifically, like, I'm having a moment. For Scorpios was that the tagline was, I think, turning emotional damage into cash or something like that. It was all about like taking what has hurt you and putting it in to something else and getting a financial benefit from it was the main like highlight for me. And so what I see here is the 7 of Pentacles. This is continuing to work on that growth of whatever you've been doing. But you might start to feel like you're not, like, maybe you got a huge like push, like maybe you got a bunch of recognition, maybe you got something really awesome happened to you. And then you get a little bit like, well, why isn't that continuing to happen at that rate? So it might drop off a little bit this month, but you need to keep pushing, because the 7 of Pentacles, it puts you in an energy of like feeling like, I don't really know if all this hard work is actually worth it and if it's going to pan out to be anything. But it is like that. That's the side part. It's just that you can't see it yet. And so it's like you're being tested to see, like, do you really want this? Are you going to be able to handle it if you can get it? If you can't handle the cycles of what you're working on dropping out sometimes and not doing so well, you're not going to be able to handle when you get up there and you're actually, at the level you want to be, because guess what? It's going to cycle down sometimes, and that's going to be even a bigger ego loss for you, right? So we go over to the Page of Cups. And the 4 of Cups, so you are getting something and it's not at the level that you're wanting. Maybe you had maybe you have a YouTube channel, you got a bunch of subscribers, and then all of a sudden it's like a little bit less, but it's still growing, it's still working, but it's just a little bit less. And maybe you get somebody that, it's just this, like, it's like a more immature energy with the page. So you're not getting exactly what you want, but it's still an offer. Like, you're still being given something. You're still like creating, you're still doing it, and you have people supporting you, but you're not seeing that. So you need to make sure that this month that you aren't doing that. Like, you aren't being your own worst enemy, and you're paying attention to what's being handed to you. The other part of that, what I'm getting right now, is that it's like, okay, so we have the Page of Cups, and then we have the hand giving this person the cup. And this is going to represent a divine energy, not a person. It's the energy of the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. This energy right here, and whatever this offer that comes into you, whoever's coming in to help you, or whatever emotional insight you get, or maybe even it's a relationship with the Page of Cups, whatever this is that comes in that you don't really recognize its value yet, is like it's being given to you, and it's happening to you because you're trying to be leveled up in a way on like a universal level. So if you don't see it and you stay in this like, well, it's probably just not worth it, or I don't understand why it's not going well anymore, you're gonna lose out on everything you built. You'll manifest that it wasn't really worth the energy into the actual reality. So don't be your worst enemy. Like, just keep building. Like, just my thing would just be stay focused on what your end goal is and know that things cycle.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, Scorpio is getting a lot of squares from Leo. And there is that trine coming from Jupiter, or no, from Neptune, sorry, that can sort of blow things out of proportion, even though it is a trine. And your ego being attacked. Scorpio is an energy that likes it. You'd think this would be more of an Aries description, but Scorpio is still ruled by Mars. Scorpio still likes to win. Scorpio still likes to take. Scorpio still likes to have. I mean, the eighth house is about resources from other people, actually, especially resources that you manage to subversively gain from others, or resources that you make from yourself that you share. But it's still resources nonetheless. And so when Scorpio wins, they like to win. They do like to win, just like Aries. When they don't feel like they've won enough, it can be a big problem. And if they feel like it's not serving them in a way that is, or that best supports their needs, the Scorpio will literally try to destroy itself so that it can be reborn anew. Now, either it's a little death by like destroying situations and destroying circumstances within your environment so that you can recreate something new, or literally destroying yourself, like, you know, with drugs and alcohol. And I know that there's several Scorpio people that have issues with substance abuse that could do the same thing. They could feel like they just haven't achieved enough in a short enough period of time, and that they should just say fuck it and just fuck everything off, because, you know, why the fuck not? Because Scorpio energy has a subconscious need to die and be reborn, much like the phoenix from the ashes. Now, the thing is you can't destroy everything and try to be reborn anew too soon. You can't do it if you just feel like you haven't been making progress fast enough. And so the square from the sun to the sun and the square from the Mars to the sun, from Leo to Scorpio placements, is going to be very problematic, because the ego feels challenged. The ego feels under attack. The ego is attacked by the circumstances. It's attacked by, I don't have as much as I thought I would have. I haven't done as much as I thought I would do, so fuck it. You can't just do that. Sorry, it's kind of rough. But yeah, no, you can't. You have to keep staying the course. You made a commitment, and you have to press through to the end of it. And
that's not rough. That's just the truth.
Okay, well, yeah, well, you have heavy Taurus placements, so that's not just something you know.
Like, commit. If you're gonna do something, fucking do it, and just stay with it, okay? Like, that's what you need to listen to. Like, he's not being rough. He's being honest. If you're committing to something, it's turned out positive to you to this extent. Don't say fuck it because it's not going perfect. Like, nothing's ever going to go perfect. It doesn't matter what level of consciousness you get. You are going to cycle and have low cycles. You have to stay firm and focused on what the end goal is.
Well, that's what success really is. Success is the culmination of a lot of missed opportunities and a lot of mistakes. But all your miniature victories, they all culminate to something tangible eventually. That's what success is. Success isn't one aha moment where all of a sudden the whole world looks at you. It's built slowly and grudgingly over time, and you have to get through the low periods. You have to get through the attacks. You have to get through the periods where you feel like you aren't good enough. You have to force yourself through it, and then eventually one day you're like, holy fuck, I did this. I didn't even realize I was getting this far, but I fucking did it because I was so hard on myself the whole time. You can't, yeah, so the whole premise of this is to just not give up on yourself or not give up on what you're doing. It's really easy. I feel like I could have said that in a way more positive fashion, but still, the truth's there.
Yeah, well, I think people just need to hear the truth, so.
Well, we just got real there for a second.
You know, maybe it's my Taurus placement. I get so frustrated with people that do that destroy themselves because they feel like what they have accomplished so far isn't enough. Because it's like you don't realize what people go through to order to create the lives that they want. Nobody gets to where they're wanting unless you're incredibly lucky. And even those people, they're not really happy. But nobody gets to a place where they want financially, emotionally, in a relationship, whatever it is, and it's easy. And it's like those people have put blood, sweat, and tears and hard work into becoming who they are. And you have to start that process yourself. There's no easy way to do this. It's for anybody. Like, period. Like, people just think like, oh, somebody's born and they're able to have all this, that. Like, yes, astrologically, you can see how people can be gifted certain things and make their life easier, but there's always a flip side to that. And so everybody has to work with the energy they're given. You have to just stay focused, because what else are you going to do?
And you gotta love what you do. And teamwork makes the dream work.
All right, what the hell is that?
This is a sex toy.
I was just gonna ask. Wait, okay, we have to have a conversation after this is
Check
done.
it out.
Anyway,
Let's
let's go on to the next one.
Sagittarius.
So last month was sad for Sagittarius. It was a sad summertime sadness was my title for me being lame with these damn titles. Let's see what's going on. Yay, we like those combinations. I like that 9 of Cups with that Ace of Pentacles.
Damn, so somebody should play the lottery this month.
Somebody there's like a total flip in energy this month from the last reading. So there's the 7 of Wands. This is going to indicate it's like a fighting energy. So it's very like Martian. It's very having to go up against other people. So maybe, you snap out of your sadness and you're like, I'm not like that is not who I am. I'm not going to act like that. I'm going to go after whatever it is I want. Maybe you're confronted with some issues. These wands don't have to necessarily be people. They can be, money. They can be your mental health. They can be, your mindset, like whatever it is that's opposing you that you're having to fight against. But the thing with the 7, and all 7s are a working energy, the 7 of Pentacles, it's always just like, I don't know if I can do it, but if you keep trying, you are like, that's where you get gifted. That's where you get blessed. That's where you level up. That's where you get to move on. So it's definitely stepping into that. And because you step into that, you get some sort of wish fulfillment when it comes to finances. Now, the Ace of Pentacles sitting anywhere is going to end. It's like a little like dollop of good luck in regards to finances. However, it's not like, okay, oh, you're going to be given, like you're going to win the lotto, which actually somebody could, because the Ace of Pentacles can represent like random money. Because again, it's this divine energy throwing down money. But let's be realistic. The majority of people listening to this are not going to be winning the lotto or getting some crazy amount of money sent to them. However, you are going to be at least given an opportunity to create some sort of financial stability of your own in a tangible sense. So it's not just like, an internal okayness with how much money you have. This is like actually opportunity to do something. And more than likely, it will be an opportunity that you are really wanting. So this could be a job that you get. This could be a raise, promotion that you get. This could be getting into the school that you want, or whatever, or the program that you're wanting. Anything along those lines. It's a new opportunity that is divinely given, because and it's not just like, oh yeah, you got this, way to go. It's because you put in some work. So if you're listening to this and you know that you're not stepping into that energy, then fucking step into it, or else you're not going to get this. It'll just wipe this whole thing out and you'll just be back to where you were sad. But I don't think you guys will have a problem with that, because you guys usually are, like this is what you want. It's a new opportunity. So it's new, exciting, something different. Should be right up your alley.
Absolutely. Sagittarius is a fighting energy. It's a fighting spirit. And the reason I brought up the lottery thing is Sagittarius and Jupiter are associated with luck anyway. And with all of those really badass cards right there, I don't know. I would say August might be a good month to pull a couple lottery tickets. I'm just,
Yeah, no, definitely. I only just
counteracted
that
harm?
Just because.
What's the harm? But no, okay, so Sagittarius is getting a lot of positive transits this month. They really are. A lot of, let's see, Leo would be the 11th house. No, Leo would be the 9th house for Sagittarius, actually. So, wow. Yeah, that's a lot of expansion of the mind. There's a lot of trines going to Sagittarius from Mars, from Mercury, from the Sun, from Venus. That's just really feel-good energy. And Sagittarius has been hit so hard by transit lately, especially in the month of June with all the stuff going through Gemini, making oppositions. Most of the Sagittariuses that I know have not been dealing with a very pleasant time right now. Especially Sagittarius, just in general, and I'll go into progressions here for a moment. Depending on what birthday you have at Sagittarius, eventually your sun will transit through Capricorn, and then it'll progress into Capricorn. And when it does, all of this Saturnian influence that your sun has to deal with for a 30-year cycle can really, really, really put a damper on your fighting spirit. You have to really get down to business, and a lot of people just do not like that, especially when they've lived their life thinking that the world was their oyster and the world was so big and you could just, go anywhere you want, do anything you please. And then Saturn's like, no. So with Jupiter transiting through Sagittarius, and it has been since last year, but it's going to continue its journey through that particular sign, lighting up any planet it touches. And this month, with the planets running through Leo, it's going to really heighten that optimism. So like that luck from the Ace of Pentacles, that is difficult to determine just by transits to a sign. You have to look at each individual chart. But just that positive energy and that positive drive, that's definitely something to look forward to. So the month of August is going to be pretty positive.
Yeah, I'm jealous of this.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Now, see, what makes me upset, though, is that now that you pulled all those awesome cards for Sagittarius, when you pull Capricorn, it's going to be, like, shitty. Like, watch you pull, like, 3 Tower cards.
Oh, God. Well, I don't have 3 Tower cards, so... No, I don't see okay. It's not shitty. So.
Oh, well, that just means it's not great.
Well, it's not as good as Sagittarius, but let's see.
Great.
So.
Or I'm just gonna rely on the Gemini. I'm gonna rely on the Gemini interpretation.
I'm still putting 100% into the Gemini rising. I'm not a Taurus. I don't claim that energy at all. It's so conflicting. Okay, yeah, but that would make sense. Let's look at this. Capricorn. So we have the 5 of Wands. We have a lot of wands. We have 5 of Wands. We have the 10 of Wands. We have the 8 of Wands. There's a lot of fiery energy. You could be dealing with multiple fire signs. But let's see. So we have the 10 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. There's some sort of, it's
like a lot of competition.
Yeah, it's more of this, I don't feel like it's a real competition. It could be a real competition. But let's talk about the 10 of,
Like a soapbox derby?
I don't know. Let's talk about the 10 of Wands, and then I'll see what happens in my head. The 10 of Wands is all about, it's an ending of a cycle because it's a 10, but it's an energy of not wanting to ask for help and to having a lot of work that you're having to do. And you just don't want to ask anybody for help. You feel like you can do it yourself. And I feel like this could be, sitting next to it could be this fighting energy. Maybe the Father of Wands coming out. This fighting energy that could be internal. Maybe you want to ask for help. Maybe you want to communicate. We have the 8 of Wands. So the 8 of Wands is all about clear communication, clear movement, being able to move, being able to do something clearly. It's just clarity. Maybe it's like, and then we have the Page of Swords. So there could be something that you're wanting to communicate that is causing a lot of conflict within. You could be getting into arguments or having competitions, and it's regarding some sort of communication. This is a lot about communication because it's a page. So we have the 8 of Wands, which is literally can be a message. Pages are messengers, and it's a Page of Swords. So this is the messenger that is bringing, speaking, and then we're fighting, and then you have this energy. So since it's going this way, this is going to be having to really like go into something that you don't want to, having to have a conversation that is very conflicting and you're not sure how it's going to go, having to like start something new where you're in competition with other people and you have to like stand up for yourself and speak very clearly. You're having to step into the Father of Wands. I think that's why that came out. So you're having to step into more of a fire sign energy, and to be very like assertive with what you're doing. And I don't feel like whatever the situation is something that you want to be assertive with. I feel like you'd rather like struggle in the background and hope that you eventually finish, like hope it just kind of clears out, or like you don't have to deal with it anymore, and then you just like get like you just want to go home, like that energy of like I just want to go home, like I don't want to deal with this shit, I just want to go home. But you can't. You're going to be forced to fight for something or compete. and you're going to be forced into being communicative. So the advice is going to be to not resist it, to just communicate. To the Father of Wands, like when we have advice cards come out that are like the Father, or sorry, the Father of Wands is the when we have, God, Jesus Christ, when we have court cards, that's what they're called. The Father of Wands is normally the King of Wands. When they come out, they represent generally a person, but here it's going to represent what you need to be. And the King of Wands is going to communicate exactly what he wants, and he's going to take what he wants. He's not going to be like, oh, I don't know, like, I don't know if I really should even bother with this, or if this is too much work, or, whatever. Like, he's going to go do it. So that's what I see here. I don't really see, it's not negative. It's just, it's uncomfortable. Outcome, I don't know. But you're being told that regardless of what happens from the outcome, you're being tested to see if you can do this.
Well, if I look at my particular lunar return for the month of August, it's pretty intense. So that fits in really well with my personal story and my personal journey. So July was really very much a testing ground for Capricorn. Because Capricorn, they don't like to give up. They actually do enjoy a challenge, much like Aries. It is a cardinal sign. It is very hardworking. It's very materialistic. And Saturn and Pluto, first of all, Capricorn's been getting ripped to shreds since the end of 2017. Really, really, really putting this generation, or my generation, with the Capricorn stellium under a lot of duress. Like, it killed Mac Miller. It killed the coolest Capricorn ever. Just with all the heavy transits running through Capricorn. But those with heavy Capricorn placements are nearing the end of this insane couple years of extreme testing, and now it's to a period where we can learn all the lessons that we got from, the Saturn return, or just Saturn transiting over all of your planets, Pluto transiting all over your Capricorn planets, especially if you have a generational stellium. And now you get to really, really take all those skills you learned through those trials by fire, and over not just August, but August, September, October, the end of this year is going to be a big deal for Capricorn, because the pressure is off now. Now, the internal changes are starting to crystallize, and you can start to take what you've learned and you can push forward and be the Father of Wands. You can be the authority figure. You can be the one that stands up for yourself. And yes, this spread is very much about not just laying in the back, being in the workhorse, but being like, standing up and taking pride in your accomplishments and what you've overcome for the past couple years. I feel like this is getting really powerful right now. But no, this is really about, like, look, I did all the work. I'm going to keep doing all the work. I didn't get to where I am now by just doing nothing, and because I have no talent and no ability. So now now take a good damn look at what I could do. And so, yes, whenever you do that, you do stand up for your abilities, you do face competition. But if any sign can struggle against the odds and win, it is Capricorn. Now, there isn't a whole lot of really heavy transits being made to that sign right now. If you do have a Capricorn ascendant, then you will be having a lot of planets running through your 8th house, which is very, very intense and would very much go in line with this particular spread. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I have a Gemini ascendant, and the Capricorn sun is in my 8th house, so it actually goes very well for me. But anyway, so yeah, it's get ready for one last big test before things start to finally turn into what you need, your accomplishments to turn into.
And I feel like for Lisa Tarot reading, this actually kind of does apply to Cap Stellium generation, because in my personal opinion, on a spiritual level, the Cap Stellium generation came into, we were the seeds that came in, and we are now coming to fruition, because we have major things that we're moving. We already can start to see a culture shift in how people treat one another. It's not the best yet, but there's a huge culture shift happening, and it grows more and more constantly. And it's especially hitting the spiritual community. The spiritual community is already like pretty much almost double to what when I started to really dig into it. So there's a lot of people on a spiritual level, I feel, in the Cap Stellium generation that are awakening into their own potential, and into their own, on the spiritual side, their gifts and whatever else. And that is also helping them in the physical. Not everybody's going to turn around and be an astrologer or be a tarot reader or, energy worker, but all those gifts definitely help you in your regular day-to-day job and to progress on a personal level. Like that's, these. Go ahead.
The Cap Stellium, Pluto, and late Scorpio generation, they're going to be the ones that end up running the world in a matter of a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, that entire generation was born at a major, major turning point in history. That's when the Soviet Union fell. The United States, emerged as the world's sole superpower. All of a sudden, it was like modern Western society truly globalized, and the world was born anew, and we were raised in that new environment. We weren't raised in the baby boomer generation where we were all scared that the world could end via nuclear war any day. We came into this world with an expectation of a certain standard of freedom and a certain standard of, orderly democracy to run our day-to-day life. We're accustomed to it. We watched the world completely modernized to a whole new level with the advent of the internet and the advent of cellular devices and the globalization of networking. And as the next generation really begins to go into their 30s and early 40s, we're going to be the ones that lead the world, because the Capricorns are the Capricorn energy. They're the lawmakers, they're the bosses. This particular generation is just getting their trial by fire before we actually move forward to claiming the throne that we were promised. Like our whole generation was promised. My soul family, your soul family, was promised when we were born.
Yeah, and that's why you came in this particular time, was to do whatever it is you're going to be doing in the future. And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to do it. People need to be making moves on a tangible level and not just on the ethereal level. But yeah, this is like, I am of that generation, and I am a Gemini rising, so I kind of semi-relate to this reading a bit with, and I'm also in my Saturn return, and that's in my 8th house, and, so.
Yeah, so if I combine, like, the Gemini rising reading and then the Capricorn sun reading for myself, I'm pretty happy with how August is going to turn out. It's going to be intense, but it's going to be good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Better than last.
Huh?
Better than last month's reading. Oh, you're going to be sexy. People are going to find you sexy. Yeah, I'm getting really tired of people staring at me as I ride my bike down the street.
It wasn't just that for the Gemini, and it was also just a very intense sexual energy that was, and that could have been some, I didn't ever talk about it, but I might have in my video, but that could have been some Kundalini awakening, which can be interpreted as intense sexual energy, but it's actually some, some things happening on a spiritual level for you. And it's this a confidence that's coming into you that will help you do whatever you're going to be doing.
Yeah. Okay, so we get to move into the wonderfully detached sign of Aquarius. Y'all are getting some cool stuff this month.
Well, I'm seeing some interesting things. Definitely, it's not negative, but it's anxiety provoking. You guys might not. It could just be like insomnia. Maybe you're going to be busy, but I feel like you definitely are going to have some anxiety. So we have the Nine of Swords. We have the Six of Wands.
Related to relationships, if you look at the transits.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely there's judgment there. So there's, regardless of what, it's this conflicting energy. It's like, okay, so we have the Nine of Swords next to the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is very like triumphant. It's you winning. It's you feeling very good and confident about yourself. But then you have the Nine of Swords sitting there too. So you have this conflicting energy that's going in internally. And then something comes to like the light. You have judgment. We have, the truth comes out. So if you're dealing with relationships, the truth is going to come out this month about what the hell's happening in those relationships. The judgment card, they're naked, they're exposed. There's the angel there with the trumpet. Like everything is out open in the scene. There's no more hiding. And the interesting thing about the Six of Wands is that you have this horse covered. and the face is covered, and there's this energy of like, what did it take like for this person to become victorious? There's something hidden here. There's like an energy of being hidden, and so whatever that is comes to the light, and it's probably something that you have been wondering about and thinking about, and it's been going on in your head. I'm going to pull a card to see. Oh my God, Judgment came out again. So, yeah, this is really like, what is going on here? Okay, let's do another card. Father of Pentacles. Crap, and the Lovers. Yeah. Oh, that's Temperance, not the Lovers, but I said the Lovers because I saw there's definitely some relationship going on here, but this energy is lots of majors, 2 Judgment. This could be about work because we have the Father of Pentacles, or this could be about your home, and this could be about relationships. It could be about forgiveness, having to move on, alchemy. There's like a lot of different things going on here. There's going to be a lot of different outcomes. It's not going to feel necessarily all that great, but it is also going to feel good at the same time. It's going to be very conflicting energy.
It'll be that level of intensity that Aquarius really doesn't like, but at the same time it makes them feel alive, so they deal with it.
Yes, it's like you feel like victorious, but it's also like tearing you up at the same time. But I almost feel like you guys are gonna already like know what this is in your life in particular. You're already gonna have that sensation because you've already been thinking about it. But and you're almost, it's like, I was right. I knew that all along. I was fucking right. Like you can't like, and that doesn't necessarily, it's still gonna feel good to you in that way, but it's like still whatever's happening isn't necessarily positive. It makes you feel like shit. However, you're just not, there's not this attachment to it. There's no emotional cards here. There's no feeling bad. There's just letting it go. It's getting it to light, letting it go, and moving forward. So I don't feel like you're gonna be, while it might be uncomfortable in your thoughts and feel maybe anxiety, I don't feel like you're gonna be emotionally hit at any level. It's a very detached energy.
You know what's funny is there's somebody that I was dealing with recently who has this placement, and what was interesting is she was recently worried about this person who was like stalking her, like, and had been obsessed with her for years and was doing like horribly manipulative things, like positioning himself, actually forming a relationship with another woman so that he could position himself in a better spot to harass her.
Wow.
Like, absolutely insane stuff. And that's a 7th house theme. That's an issue with relationships, and that's also, and it's not as if she was attached to him emotionally. She wasn't. She wanted it to go away. And that's the good thing about Aquarius energy is, some people call them cold, but they have the wonderful ability to just detach from a situation when it becomes way more than is necessary to conducive to, healthy growth. And if you look at the transits, you will see there is a lot of oppositions being made to Aquarius. And oppositions, as I've stated before earlier in this video, they refer to circumstances of tension that are created by other people in our lives. So when you see all of those oppositions from Leo into Aquarius at one time, it's got to be another person. Another person is challenging your ego. Another person is challenging your ability to do what you need to do. Another person is causing you to doubt yourself. And another person, like that 10 of Wands, not the 10 of Wands, that's the 10 of Swords, correct?
9 of Swords.
9 of Swords. 9 of Swords. Can you go over the meaning of that for me real fast?
So the 9 of Swords is you being like not being able to sleep, not being able to be comfortable, being very anxious about a situation and trying to figure out what to do about that situation. So it messes with your day-to-day routine, your sleep cycle, that kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, it's another individual that's causing you anguish and causing you issue. It could be somebody that you're romantically involved with. It could be somebody that you're dealing with at work. It could be a business partner. It could be a person that shouldn't even be in your life to begin with, but they've somehow inserted themselves into your, your sphere, and you don't want them there. So it's just not easy to deal with. But luckily, we've got we've got sextiles from Chiron going to Aquarius. We've got a sextile from Jupiter going to Aquarius. That'll be affecting the middle degrees. So these are energies that kind of help soften the blow a little bit, especially with Chiron, because when Chiron is making an easy aspect, in many cases, it's allowing you to understand where you're weak, but you're able to deal with it in a way that doesn't wound you all over again. So that in itself is fairly strengthening. I like to use Chiron a lot in transit just because I feel like it adds a whole level of color to an interpretation, especially with an individual's transits.
And that shows up with what they're talking about, the healing parts with the temperance. Temperance also is an indicator of healing. It's about forgiveness, and it's not forgiveness for yourself. It's for the other person. It's for yourself, so you don't have to carry on that negativity or the drama or whatever it is that person inflicted on you. It's like leaving their energetic link behind, so you can be whole again, and you have all the chakra colors there, like indicating like all of this stuff is activating within. And I just keep hearing alchemy. So, that's kind of like what I see here happening.
Absolutely. But the cool thing about Aquarius, as I just said, they can, if the situation becomes too much or unhealthy, they can let go. Unless they've got like crazy Pisces or Scorpio placements. So, let's check out what's going on with Pisces this month.
Pisces. Last month, you guys had a very good reading. Let's see. I'm so glad it's Pisces, Sun and Rising, and not Venus.
Absolutely.
All right. So we have, even though I feel like this is applying to me right now, because I'm setting it down and trying to negate it. Pisces, we have the Six of Swords, which definitely lines up with what was going on last month with Pisces energy leaving some situations that no longer serve them, cutting toxic connections, which can be a serious fucking issue for Pisces. And, going into something that's a lot healthier. And it's not necessarily like you're not jumping from one relationship to another. You're going into a better mindset of yourself and your worth and everything. So that comes through with the Six of Swords, and that's in the past placement, which is excellent, because that's links up to what we were talking about. Then we step into the Lovers next to the Seven of Swords. I hate the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is it's deception. It's the full truth not being out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be negative, but most of the time it is. It's somebody else that's trying to play you. And with the Lovers sitting there, it's me going to talk about some sort of relationship. So we'll talk about that first, but then it also can always indicate, as all these cards can, internal conflicts within and your relationship with yourself.
Well, that's a constant theme that keeps coming up for Pisces, is setting boundaries and not only refusing to let other people lie to you, but more importantly, not lying to yourself.
Yes, and so that's what I was going to talk about, is that I feel like there's a situation that occurs between the Lovers. And so the Lovers it's generally a relationship that has been, it's not the Two of Cups. It's not new. It's something that has been established. And it is, a lot of readers see it as like another soulmate marker and all that kind of stuff. But around these cards, it's like, so let's say this energy was leaving a situation. I feel like that person that they left has come back into the situation. And there's this, with this Lovers card right here, I'm going to pull a clarifier, but it's coming through to me as the negative energy of the Lovers, the lower energy, which is the feminine portion of it, seeing something that really isn't existing in the masculine and is deceiving themselves. The masculine wanting to create the Lovers energy for the feminine's mindset, but being really focused on, if you can see, she's staring at her tits, being focused on the physical aspect. It's not really coming into union with this emotional and spiritual and mental connection as she's looking up at the angel, looking up. That's the energy there. So if you can see that, their eyes matter a lot, that imagery, and especially if it's next to the Seven of Swords, because that's going to feed in, and it's touching him. That's going to feed into some sort of deception coming from one aspect. But let me just pull a card, and it's again for the whatever side you're resonating with, because you can be either or as you're watching this. It's you have to make sure that you're not deceiving yourself in the situation. The Hanged Man. So yeah, like the thing I'm gonna say here is that whatever happens, for you guys in regards to relationships, you guys need to just hold off on, wait to see things a little clearly, because you're gonna get fucked if you don't. That's the Three of Swords on the bottom of the deck. I don't ever like to tell people that if you have somebody come back into your life, then just be like, fuck you, not speaking to you ever again, and bye. Because if you have that urge to, then obviously you haven't learned your lesson, and you need to go back into that situation and figure out whatever it is you need to learn. However, if you do that, I'm just telling you that you're going to get fucked. So you can make your decision going forward. You should really reserve and hang out in the hangman energy. Just hold up, just like wait, like see how things roll out, because any deception from these cards to me is going to come out sooner rather than later, and you'll be able to see the true intentions behind what's going on. So it's something to be super mindful of.
Thank God Neptune is nearing getting sort of close to the end of coming out of Pisces. Thank God, because that is just making the sensitive and easily corruptible Pisces, I wouldn't say corruptible in a bad way, but just the energies of others can have a very profound impact on Pisces. And Neptune transiting through it has just taken that and just thrown it on overdrive, and has allowed Pisces placements to just totally indulge in all of those negative habits and attitudes that are problematic for that sign. There is a negative and a positive manifestation of every single energy in the zodiac, and even in the tarot. I mean, there's a positive manifestation to the Tower, correct? Yes, there can be, because
there can be, but I honestly, it is always positive, because it's a structure that was not supposed to be there that needs to come down.
It may be perceived as subjectively negative, but objectively it can be very positive.
Yes. The negative aspect, or if you would call like a reversal of it, would be resisting that massive change, and that would be the most negative aspect of that card, would be to resist it, because then you're making things worse.
Yes. So the thing about Pisces energy and Neptune transiting through Pisces, as that has been doing for quite a while, it kind of gives placements in that sign license to indulge in the most negative manifestations of Piscean energy, that over susceptibility to manipulation, to compassion at the expense of your health, of your boundaries, the elimination of your boundaries, indulging in mind-altering substances. For some Pisces placements, it just depends on the individual. And Jupiter making its squares to Pisces has not made anything easier. Also, next month's going to be rather troublesome for Pisces. I'll just put that out there right now, especially with all the oppositions being made. And I think that really does tie in very well to what you were saying about the potential of letting somebody back into your life, because if you do, more than likely issues will begin to crop up very soon. And by very soon, I mean in September.
Yeah. That's what that hangman would indicate, that like, hold off. If you just wait a minute, you're going to see things in a different perspective.
Yes. So that's all I really have to say in that regards. There's just poor Pisces. It's going to get a lot better. Saturn's going to move or not Saturn. Jupiter's going to move into Capricorn soon enough by the end of the year. It's just things are going to get a lot simpler for Pisces very soon, because all of the energies that have been exacerbating the negative qualities of Pisces are going to be softened here over the next couple months. But this month and next month, you have to be really, really, really careful. Are you just falling into your own delusions? Am I allowing my boundaries to come down when they don't need to be? Am I deceiving myself? Am I possibly deceiving another human being by being, on the fence about something when I want to just come off as being compassionate and supportive? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself. So,
I'm feeling attacked. Just kidding.
You don't even. We asked the cards about the sun and.
I understand. I'm just still feeling attacked. What I was gonna say that I was kind of like, as he's talking, I hear things from my guides. I sound crazy, but I'm hearing things. If somebody is your soulmate, if somebody is your twin flame, quote unquote, I'm so on board with you now with that anyway. If somebody,
you know what, I'm going to do a video specifically about twin flame and soulmate relationships.
If they really are that, and even though with the twin flame stuff, it brings on that very negative aspect because they're bringing out parts of yourself, whatever, right? If they are good for you in an actual relationship and dealing with them, nobody that actually cares about you is going to make you feel so awful. Nobody that cares about you is going to put you in that Three of Swords energy. They're not going to be manipulative. They're not going to be using you for something like physical. They're not going to be deceptive. They're not going to be playing games or like not clear about like what's going on. That's not how any of that's going to work. So I know a lot of Pisces placements, including myself, as I have a Pisces Mars and a Pisces Venus, can get confused and diluted of what is love and what is somebody enjoying manipulating you and messing with you. And maybe they have some attraction to you or feelings for you, but it's not enough to treat you with respect. So you have to remember those boundaries that you developed and how you were able to step into your true power. That person is potentially seeing that and wanting to come back because they want back in. They want that energetic link to you. And you have to, maybe for some people, maybe that person's going to change. They're not. Maybe they will. But guess what? They're not going to, you holding off for a month or 2 or 3 to see what their true intentions are. It's not going to hurt, because if they're really in it for you and really are changing, then they're going to stick with that energy. So just hold off if all things come to worse. I know when actually that plays out for you, it will be very, very, very difficult, but
it'll be a really important learning lesson.
Yes.
One of many.
You want to level up? This is an opportunity to take it to the next level for yourself and to not be stuck in that stereotypical Pisces shit.
Exactly. All right, so I think that covers about all 12 signs. Are we missing were we going to do a fucus?
Huh?
Were we going to do a fucus?
What is that? What are you saying?
Exactly. Never mind.
Okay. I don't know what you're saying. You're making a joke that's above my pay grade. All right. I think that's it. I don't have anything else to say other than I hope you have a good month. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe to my page.
Yes, like and subscribe to AT Astro as well as 1111 Tarot Babe. I will be posting links down at the bottom of the page, as I described earlier on in the video, where you will be able to contact both myself and Stephanie for a live tarot card reading or a consultation on my behalf. And
one day we're going to bring those two together at the same time and like have a really awesome little thing for you guys. The other thing is, sorry to interrupt you before I stop talking. I am going to be doing these readings in more detail with the same cards, but I will be adding to it as I'm going over each sign. So you can check those individual readings out on my channel if you're wanting more details and channeled information and whatever else happens to come up.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys, thank you so much.
Bye.